Unfailingly, human beings pity their ancestors for being so ignorant and forget that their descendants will pity them for the exact same reason, says Harrison in his paper, The Uncertainty of Knowledge. I think that out of everything, this is what prepared me for my journey in TOK this year. To think about the fact that 100 years ago, we think about various ideas, and that would be fact for them, like phlogiston. But now we know that that's not so. I mean, I just look back at them and say, oh, they were silly, they believed that kind of stuff. But it's so easy to forget that I believe those kinds of things too. What if my model of the atom is nothing like it actually is, and in 100 years we'll see a completely different model?
So after taking TOK for 2 semesters, I've really found that it's a very interesting class. It's unlike anything I've ever done before, because instead of focusing on expanding your knowledge in one area, for example, science or math or English, it's learning about knowledge in all areas, and so it's applicable and connected to all the different classes that I'm taking. And this was especially true in our very first unit, which was on the nature of knowledge, which is, of course, is something that I don't think people think about that often, because it's something perhaps so basic, something that is just always there. Especially in school, you don't really question why we know what we know, how we know what we know, to what extent can we know what we know in all these classes, to what extent should we just take what is presented to us as fact, the difference between belief or knowledge or truth, perhaps.
Within the unit, the nature of knowledge, we also talked a lot about the nature of knowledge in relation to experts, and we thought about the question, how reliable are experts in the truth and the knowledge they give us? To what extent should we accept the knowledge by authority of said experts? And now I question my experts a lot. I question a lot of my knowledge because of that section of the unit. I question the knowledge I get. Is this really truthful? Where is this from? How reliable is this expert?
So this year in TOK has been really interesting, and I've found that I've really enjoyed this course and just kind of the topics that we've been discussing, the fact that it's really open to discussion, and it's a lot about, it's not like you're learning hard material like facts or anything. A lot of it is like interpretation, and it's kind of a philosophy course of sorts almost, but I just really like it because it helps to give a broader outlook on all of my other classes.
Overall, we learned quite a bit in TOK this year, and I really genuinely enjoyed all the topics that were covered because they weren't difficult to understand, but they all really got me thinking. And everything that we touched on was very relatable, but now I'm able to look back at them with different perspectives in mind.
And one of the things I think is very useful about TOK as a class is that it's a class where discussion, debate, and perhaps disagreeing with what is being taught is accepted and encouraged. And so, of course, in another class, you can't perhaps write your homework assignment about how you think what you read is wrong, or perhaps how you think it needs adjustment. But that's something that you can do in TOK, which is something that I really like.
I think that overall this year was really helpful for me, especially because, well, I'm really looking forward to next year, but I'm like this year especially, I like these units that we've covered because I think that they were really relevant to what I've been learning in my other classes, and they've helped me to grow, maybe even not like technically or with facts or anything, but just kind of with deeper understanding, or at least more consideration. It's kind of helped me to view my other classes in a different light, even if it hasn't changed my opinion about the class, even if it hasn't, changed my whole outlook on life or the course. It still helped me to realize that there are so many different facets to what I'm learning, and there's so many different, opinions and viewpoints to anything, even if it doesn't seem controversial at first. Like, there's all these sorts of sides to everything, and it's really helped me to want to study these more, just look into, even if I don't, change my opinions, just to look into them and know that they exist. And I think that's kind of one of the most important things that I've taken out of this, is that nothing is solid. Even like facts that I've been learning, nothing is solid. There's always going to be someone that's going to have a different opinion, or there's always going to be some question. Nothing is ever going to be fully answered, and that's okay. And that's where everything becomes interesting and fun, because you have these different sides that you can look into, and I think it just has made my schooling much more interesting and meaningful for me. So I'm really happy with this course so far.
I've learned so much and feel like my brain is so much like my reality. I think about everything now, and I don't know, it's been a great year, and a lot of things have changed within the way I think now about everything, and